Hello everyone, and welcome to the Microsoft Instagram Live. I think people will trickle in. I'm so excited. We're going to talk all things tech and life and Microsoft Surface, all of the good things. Richard is going to join me soon, and we're going to have a bit of a conversation, and I think some of you sent in some questions, and I'm so grateful. Hopefully we'll get to those, and we'll try and get through as many as we possibly can. There we go. Hi, everyone. Oh, there we are.
Hey, Tessa, how are you?
Hi, I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great, thanks. I'm so excited to be here talking to you. For your audience, I'll just introduce myself. My name is Richard Gunter. I'm a master trainer here at Microsoft Canada, which essentially just means I teach people how to use Microsoft products every day across Canada. And so excited to be here talking to you today about all things Microsoft, and especially these Surface devices you've been using in your life. There's so many things I want to talk about. Speaking of which, if you're here in the chat, feel free to leave a question. We'll do our best to get to any questions that you may have. But Tessa, you've started this new journey, and it's such a change for you. Explain how this this past little while has been for you.
Oh, well, thanks so much for joining me and for facilitating this. I'm so thrilled to have this chat. And I've been really longing to share my love for Microsoft Surface with all of these followers and people tuning in. So this is great. It's been a long time coming. I think there's this idea or perhaps misconception that retirement was this sudden jolt and this unexpected shift. And yet I really worked hard to prepare for it, plan, strategize, make sure that I had the right pieces in place in order to move forward effectively. Granted, that makes it's easier when I can leave the sport feeling really, at peace and on good terms with my relationship with skating. But it's been so thrilling, just really exhilarating to take on new challenges, to sort of figure out who I am outside of the skating rink and embrace, new projects that bring to light just kind of maybe more meaningful and relevant conversations, especially with the backdrop of the global pandemic right now.
Yeah, speaking of the pandemic, I mean, so much has changed for so many different people, and we've had to do this sort of virtual learning, virtual working. Can you explain how that has been for you, and specifically how your Surface devices have helped you through that?
My goodness. Well, the Surface devices have really just created the perfect platform for me to find confidence, to feel like I can be competent, to organize my life in such a way that I feel equipped to sort of tackle all these different spheres. So I have school, I have work, I have Tessa Virtue work, which is a little bit different, and then my personal life, of course. So just sort of being able to across the board feel prepared, organized, efficient, and just optimally productive. That's something that I really value. Just, how do you make the most out of every minute of your time? And with these devices, I feel like I'm able to switch back and forth between all three of them, really. And kind of now, and I'm so not a tech person, I'll be honest with you, now I feel like they're an extension of my being, that I almost couldn't exist and I couldn't operate in my day-to-day without them. And I don't feel like I'm attached to my device, and yet there it is, ready to support me.
Yeah, that's such a great point. You mentioned that you've got your work life, your kind of school life, and then there's the personal aspect and your sort of Tessa Virtue work as well. How are you using technology in these past few months to do things in your personal life that aren't really like work or school? We know that there's a lot of digital stuff going on with that, but just personally, what are you doing with those devices?
Well, staying connected is a big thing, and I think now that all of our conversations are remote and virtual, there's an even more important need to be acutely aware and conscious of how we're developing those relationships, how we're curating and cultivating these bonds and the trust. And I think, through technology, I've been really able to ensure that I stay grounded and stay connected with those in my life. But I'm also building so many new relationships, and that's with my classmates and my work colleagues. And so I feel like whether we're sharing a document and working together or connecting on a video call, that has really allowed that aspect of my life to sort of catapult into a different sphere. But personally, so I love to write, usually pen and paper, and I try and get my thoughts out there. I like to journal. And the Surface Pro has, well, there's the pen, as you know. I don't know why I'm explaining it to you, but I feel like I'm so intimately connected with the device. It's just as if I'm writing on paper, and I feel more creative. I feel I can brainstorm. I can highlight things. I can just really free flow, get my thoughts out there. And that's been a really gratifying personal endeavor to just sort of be able to dive into the self-reflection pieces as well.
Yeah, that's so great to hear. One of the things with Surface and that pen is that we wanted to do that because people do feel such a connection when they're writing rather than typing on a keyboard, right? And it's so great to hear you say that. You've been using a few of these Surface devices, right? Which ones exactly do you have?
So I have the laptop, the Surface Pro with the keyboard that attaches, and the Duo.
Okay, great. And which one of those is your favorite? If you have to pick one, you're only going to get to keep one in your day-to-day. Which one are you going to choose?
Oh, I think every day I have a different answer for that because there are just different parts of my life that feel more suited to a certain device. These days, it's the laptop, actually. I feel like I'm suddenly this PowerPoint queen who can navigate between that and Microsoft Teams and Excel. And I feel it's made easy. Like, it's intuitive, it's integrated, it's perfect, and it's so beautiful as well.
It is definitely a beautiful device. That's one of my favorites as well.
Is it?
Yeah, absolutely. I just love the form and everything of the Surface laptop. So you have had such an incredible journey so far in skating and so many great achievements. What are you most excited about in this kind of next chapter of your life?
At the risk of sounding a little bit cliche, what excites me and what thrills me most is really this uncertainty and challenge. Like, I just really want to feel, I want to feel like my goals are so big that I'm frightened by them. And then I want to just kind of dive in with both feet. And it's been a process. And I think sometimes staying in that mindset can be difficult because I became kind of accustomed to feeling really competent and like I had mastered a craft a little bit. But this rookie mindset, this idea of just wanting to be a sponge and learn as much as I possibly can, that is really invigorating. And kind of applying the principles of what I lived as an athlete, whether that's resilience or goal setting or teamwork, communication, kind of transferring that into this next chapter has also been really cool because there really are so many skills that apply. And I feel like I'm just obsessed with improving and learning and being my best. So, there's so much work to do, but that's fun. I think that's where that real joy lies.
Absolutely, I totally agree with you. If you're not afraid when you're doing something, you're not going to learn anything. It's not going to be an exciting journey, right?
You're so right.
When you've obviously got so many goals, so many objectives that you want to try to reach. How is Surface helping you reach those objectives or get to those objectives?
Well, practically, I mean, I either needed to adapt and really get used to this virtual work that is all technology based or fall behind. So practically there really was no option other than to step up and ensure that I was supported by devices and a platform that was, innovative and top notch and high quality and premium based, really dependable. And so there's a comfort that comes with that, and just knowing, okay, I've got the best. But I think also there are just so many tools. I'm still learning more, and actually I'll have to pick your brain about this, but there are so many little tips and tricks that I realize are saving me time, whether that's scheduling and having it, across all devices, or nudging people with schoolwork, giving tasks, things like that. There are so many little tiny tips and tricks that honestly have made an enormous impact. And I guess you realize it's the cumulative effect of all those technological, brilliant little nuggets that can really have a significant impact on your life.
For sure. It's that 1% every day, right? If you can improve 1% or learn 1%, you're going to get to 100 eventually.
Exactly. Yeah, and just this idea of like optimizing your productivity and your performance and feeling like even if your best at, in a day is 80%, like that's all you have in that day, and you're supported by the right tools. I think that's a really empowering and emboldening feeling.
Yeah, that's great. So we have some audience questions here, and one of them, I think you're going to be perfect to answer this one because I'm sure you are used to long, grueling days in the skating world, but now that you're in kind of the school work world, we've got these long, grueling days as well in front of a screen. And so how do you kind of keep your focus and find your motivation when you're spending these long days in front of a screen now?
It's something that I've had to work on and really train my brain and my body too to adjust to that kind of scheduling. I know that I work best in 90-minute bursts, but I also have this 16-second recovery kind of technique that I can employ, and it involves, a positive affirmation, a deep breath, visualizing what's to come, and then a ritual to set myself up for it. So I've tried to kind of incorporate that 16-second little thing throughout my day, and it's amazing how just that little bit of recovery can repair the damage of stress and pressure. So little things like that, I try and get up and walk around as much as I can, but also just be really mindful of the boundaries I'm setting for my time. So I try and create pretty regimented parameters around when I'm doing school, when I'm working, when I'm off, and when I'm completely unplugged. And I found that to be, taking some of the question out of it, and the floundering of maybe getting distracted and pulled in different directions. I think taking that out of the equation has really helped to sort of calm things down in my work world.
Yeah, that's so important. Separate everything into the little boxes.
Yeah.
So, because when we're working from home, learning from home, everything can kind of get muddled, right?
Yes, absolutely. And then, you're also feeling like you should be doing everything at home. In between meetings, you're doing a load of laundry, and you just think, well, I wouldn't really be doing that if I was in an office.
Yeah, definitely.
So we suddenly have this
Definitely.
expectation that we should be all things at all times. And I think we can kind of take it easy on ourselves.
Absolutely, yeah. So you are on this, I'm going to read this question. This was from the audience, and they're describing this new chapter of your life as new season. You've got this new season of work and life. What's the most fun aspect of it for you? What are you most looking forward to? And of what you've been doing now, what's been the most fun?
Oh, I was going to say connecting and talking at the same time. Talking to people, like learning from different people. I'm amazed, even, or especially my classmates, they all have just such diverse backgrounds, and whether that's an industry or where they grew up and their experiences, I just love learning from people. I'm so curious about everyone's life story and sort of what insights and advice they have. And so, I'm sort of amassing all of these mentors, and that's been the most fun and fulfilling.
That is great to hear. Yeah, that's so amazing. And these great devices are what can allow you to connect with people in so many different areas,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
So maybe you can give us a sneak peek. I don't think you've shared this with anybody, but can you share with us what what career you are planning to pursue in the future? And if you can't, that's okay. But it's an audience question. They want to know.
I have so many ideas. Like I'm in a very entrepreneurial headspace at the moment, and I feel like I'm sort of laying the groundwork very purposefully to equip myself with the tools to be ready for that. So I have a vision of building something from the ground up and creating something. And it changes, but right now I've been able to launch into the consulting realm, which has been really eye-opening for so many reasons, and get the tangible work experience that I've been lacking for so many years. And I look forward to kind of continuing that and applying practically the things that I'm learning in school. It's been a really great sort of mixture of the two. And moving forward, I'm not totally sure, but it will be in business, and it will be something that not only kind of ignites this fire in me, but hopefully also that empowers others and really lifts other people up and has, you know, some kind of meaningful impact.
That is,
With
I
that,
think.
did I skirt around it a little too much?
No, no, I think that was great. And you know what? Very much aligns with Microsoft's mission to empower every person and organization in the world to achieve more. So that's amazing.
Yeah, well, and you know, you really see that in my interaction with the brand and the company. It's so cool to get a sense of the culture, and that's the most important thing for me when I'm connecting and collaborating with a partner. And what is so neat is that there's room for experimentation, for innovation, creativity, but it's all grounded in this real sense of expertise, and they're, you know, leading the field in every single way. I don't need to sell Microsoft to you, but I can just say from an outsider, getting a glimpse into the corporate realm of it and the structure has been just so enlightening, but also really inspiring.
That's great for you to say that. That's amazing. So I think we've got some new college graduates or people who are going into similar life transitions as you. What would be some of your advice for somebody who is just transitioning in their life and they're looking for new things to do?
I would say lean into the feeling of being uncomfortable, because that really is where the growth happens, and that's where the magic is. And know that whatever you're tackling, wherever you are, whatever your dreams are, you're deserving of them. Like you have a seat at the table, and your opinions are worthwhile. I think sometimes when we're tackling something new, there's a lot of self-doubt that makes us believe that maybe everyone else has it figured out, or, you know, we're behind in some way or lacking. And I think it's just important to sort of appreciate the skill set that you bring forward and that you have to offer, and really hold on to that tightly. Be open to learning, of course, but never diminish your own worth through the process.
That's great advice. Such great advice. So how would you wind down from a full day of technology, right? We talked a little bit about how you manage that day, but how do you, once the day's done, how do you wind down and wean yourself off all the different screens?
Well, I like to read. I like to play with my dog. I mean, if anyone who has pets, you know that that's just like such a way that you're present and you're seeing the joy of, like, you know, your animal experience in the world. So that's been nice, kind of get out and walk. But like I said, that journaling has been a really key part of my unwinding hour, so to speak. And I don't feel like it's I don't feel like it's screen time necessarily when I'm doing that, but I feel like it's just so cathartic, and it's a great way to touch base and really get a sense of how I feel. Because sometimes, I don't know about you, I'm an extroverted thinker. I'm an introvert, but an extroverted thinker. So sometimes I either need to hear my thoughts out loud to process them, or see them on paper or screen. And that's been really helpful, especially during such a tumultuous time.
Yeah, that's really great. And I think there's probably a lot of people watching who are very similar to that. So I have to ask, again, audience questions, but would you ever consider coming back to the world of skating?
In a different way, yes. I mean, I'm currently mentoring a team prepping for the Olympics right now, and so we have these, you know, weekly or bi-weekly meetings, and I'm very much involved in their training regime and connecting the pieces for all of, you know, their giant staff and support team. And I feel like that's the perfect way for me right now to be involved and to have impact and to be able to share some of my insights and experiences. But it's so fun seeing people chase their dream, and especially when I know all the players involved, and I'm intimately and acutely aware of the stress and pressure that is facing them this year in this particular environment. It's been so fun. It's kind of made me miss it in a different way, but I also see the grueling hard work they're doing, and I think, okay, I think I'm all right on this side of things.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, you've been there, done that, right? No need to go back and relive it.
Yeah, I miss it, but I don't need to do it again. My body doesn't need to do it again.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So I've been scanning the chat. There's a lot of chat coming in. I've been trying to read it as much as I can. A ton of love for you, first of all. But if you, I don't see a ton of love for me.
Oh,
but
no,
that's
I'm seeing a lot of go, Richard, go. You're killing it.
Well, I mean, they're here for you. So if you're sending love my way, I appreciate it. But this is your chance, chat. If you're there, ask the questions. I'm kind of going to scan the chat. If you've got any questions, we'll kind of throw it out to Tessa in these last few moments that we have. But while we wait for those questions, Tessa, I want to thank you so much for being here and having me here, because it's been great. It's such a great time talking to you about all these Microsoft products and hearing your story. It's been amazing.
Oh, thank you. Well, can I put you on the spot and ask you a question?
Sure, yeah.
You're so, I mean, no one knows these devices better than you. What is one thing you wish people knew about them? And whether that's existing users that maybe aren't, leveraging the capabilities appropriately, or someone who doesn't have a Microsoft, what would you want them to know?
That's a great question. And you're putting me on the spot. But, I think that a lot of people don't really know what you mentioned, Tessa, is those small things, right? I don't think it's really one thing. But it is really trying to approach your devices in a way that I want to learn something every day. Because in so many ways, we can take them for granted. We look at the screen, we look at it, and we think, okay, it's just a computer that does emails and browses the web. But there's so many things that you can do. And in today's day and age, you can really become anybody or anything that you want with just a Surface device in front of you, right? Whether that be going in a creative way, a business way, you name it. And Microsoft has all these tools to empower you. So my one piece of advice would just be to try to learn more about your device, whatever device that is, because I think as you learn more, it'll surprise you into what it can do and then what you can do as a result.
And I would say to that, the learning curve is quick. I was really surprised by just how I was starting to incorporate these new things into my everyday routine, and then it was just so seamless. So I do think that the Surface products, they do such a great job of, like I used the word intuitive before, but I truly feel connected to the device and in a really special and unique way. Good tip, thank you.
Hey, happy to share any tips. I'm seeing one question here. What advice do you have for lifelong learners?
Oh, what strikes me, especially in this last phase, I've been really, really humbled by this, I think, is that people want to help. People want to share their stories, they want to connect, they want to support others. And so if you're a lifelong learner, reach out, send that email, make the phone call, try and have a coffee chat with someone just to learn and to pick up on their story and glean some wisdom. But what's so refreshing is people do want to help. They want to share. And that's, I think, what's so beautiful about, the network that you can create.
That is a great piece of advice. One other question here. What are you reading right now?
Oh, corporate finance. It's not glamorous. I'm having a hard time moving away from it because if I pick up anything fiction, then I feel guilty for not doing school. So I'm studying digital strategy as well. So that's been kind of fun. There's a lot of Microsoft talk in there and about how they've, so effectively strategized and made their presence. But yeah, that and finance. Sorry, that's a bit boring. But maybe you guys can include some book recommendations in there.
Yeah, that would be great, right? All right, well, that's it I'm seeing for questions. I mean, there's a ton of questions. Actually, there's one that just came in. Tessa, are you currently using more Excel, PowerPoint, or Word? And is there one dominant Microsoft Office program that you use more?
I use Teams the most because both with work and school, that's what's connecting us, and that's what, that's what's driving all kind of productivity. Right now I'm using Excel also. And I have to say, I'm not really a math person, but I love it. I really have, I've loved kind of figuring out, and there's so much more to learn still, but I've really loved that element of working with numbers and, trying to leverage all of what Excel has to offer. So yeah, I've enjoyed that. That's what I'm using the most.
That's awesome.
I also feel like my new creative outlet, some people are baking. My mom's been making quilts. Like she's so creative. It's been PowerPoint presentations and playing with different designs. I feel like a bit of a nerd, but that's been so fun and satisfying.
That's also one of the things that I love to do with design PowerPoint presentations. So you're in the right company.
Yes.
Here.
Okay. We'll send some templates my way. We can we can bounce ideas off each other.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Well, those are all the questions I've got here. Tessa, thank you so much again for having us here. This has been so great and appreciated our chat.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it. And if there were some questions we didn't get to, I'll try and go back in the comments after and answer as many as I can. But I really appreciate your time. I'm just so excited to share the love and talk about all things Microsoft Surface. What a pleasure. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.